Give me a P, P, give me an H, H, give me a B, B, what do you say? Hey, give me a P, P, give me an H, H, give me a B, B, what do you say? Hey, welcome to Promote Her Business, online, offline, all the time. My name is Josephine Hannon, but you can call me Jose, and I am the founder and chief promoter of Promote Her Business. At Promote Her Business, we believe that if you want to have the ultimate promotional advantage, you need to do what others don't so you can get what others won't. That is so important. I'm going to say it again. If you want to have the ultimate advantage, you need to do what others don't so you can get what others won't. And one thing you can do to be immensely successful and get what you really want is to be remembered in the marketplace by branding yourself as the best. And what that means is really being crystal clear on how both your business brand and your personal brand impacts your ability to attract and retain more clients. Now, during our last interview, we discussed the importance of small to mid-sized businesses having what we at PHB call a brand compass. This is your guiding star. This is what you look at every single time you're about to create anything, any marketing piece, any marketing collateral, before you go to any networking event. It is what is there for you, for your team, so you make sure everybody's saying the same thing. It clearly spells out what makes you unique and stories you can draw upon and what makes you really be able to distinguish yourself from the competition or other similar products and services in your industry, and even how to guide your power partners and customers to refer you to other people. So really, your brand compass is there to guide you for strategic direction for as long as you want your brand to have awareness in the marketplace. So if you haven't completed your brand compass yet, it is a must. Make sure to go back and listen to the interview from earlier this month and also complete the brand compass. Now, today, what we're going to focus on is, now that you're more clear on the direction that you're really taking your brand, today is about how do we have more people remember your name, remember you, remember your business, and not only remember your name, but be able to repeat it to other people and repeat your brand message to other people in the way you want it to be remembered. Because ultimately our goal as entrepreneurs is to create massive buzz about what we're doing. We want to equate the equivalent of people seeing a car and going slug bug. So really the brand becomes their own. And in order for the brand to become their own, for people to slug bug people every time they see a Volkswagen or do the equivalent for your product, really we have to step back and we have to say, well, what's really the foundation of this? And the foundation of it is that people know your name, they remember your name, and they also know and remember your message around your brand whenever they think of you or your name. Does that make sense? For those of you who want the world to know you as a brand, who want people to know more about your products and services, I want you to really think about if you've ever seen the show Cheers. And this was back in the 1980s. I'm probably dating myself a little bit. But there was a theme song for Cheers that went, sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name. And as you can see, that's why I am not in singing. I'll stick to my J job, right? right? But the point here is that it's the same thing with your products and your services. It's all about getting to a point where everybody knows your name. I mean, how cool would it be if you walked into a room and everyone already knew you, they knew your products and services, they were excited, and they were so glad you were there. They were so glad that you were somebody that, let's say, stepped into that networking event, and they were like, wow, she's a person that I want to power partner with. She's a person that has amazing products and services who I'd be so proud to promote. She's somebody I'd want to be an affiliate partner of. And really, that's what you're aiming for, is getting to the point where people know you personally as a brand that they want to work with, even independent of your products and services. And also, in addition to that, they love your products and services so much. It's part of their identity. And it's like them knowing their own name. They know your name, your products and services, because you're such a part of their life. Think Apple, your phone. How many of you think to yourself, oh my gosh, my phone has now become a part of my body, right? So Apple is not, it's more than just a company. It's really a name that's part of most things that people do nowadays. And so that's your goal as a company, is to get out there and have people not only know your name and know your brand, but really make it that part of their life so that your name and their name almost is synonymous. Does that make sense? So what are we going to talk about today? Specifically, we're going to talk about the biggest misconception about branding. We're going to talk about 4 ways to stand out, because if you don't stand out, you blend in and nobody remembers you. And then we're going to talk about how to go from being known to really being repeated everywhere. So what you're going to learn may just help you be remembered and repeated indefinitely. So you're going to want to hear every single word. So go to a quiet place, grab a pen and paper, and get ready to take some copious notes. And today, I have the pleasure of introducing myself, because I'm the one that's going to be talking about branding and having more people remember your name, because this is absolutely one of my favorite subjects. I have an advertising background, and I've done a lot over the past 10 years in communications and training and branding and internal communications, and just having more people remember you for your strengths. And that's what I'm committed to doing for more women entrepreneurs, is really helping their businesses be thought of first. But nobody will think of your business first if they can't even remember your name. They can't even remember the names of your products or what you're calling things. So your goal is really to have it be such that people, 1, remember you. 2, they not only remember what you do in general, but they can literally tell other people what you want them to say about your products and services in a way that you want them to say it to other people. And that's what I'm committed to having more women entrepreneurs and our male allies be able to do. So let's back up for just a minute and remind ourselves, what is the definition of branding? Well, my favorite definition is the one that the CEO of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, uses, and he says that branding is what people say when you're out of the room. And once again, that's what people say when you're not in the room. But how are they going to say something about you if they don't remember your name or they don't remember exactly what you're selling? So it's so important to have this awareness of what you can do to really stand out and be more memorable. Now, what is one of the most huge misconceptions about people remembering your name and about branding? Well, one of the most huge misconceptions that I often hear is that when people think of branding, oftentimes they think of logos, they think of slogans. But branding is so much more than just your logo or your slogan. When you think branding, I want you to think about essentially your entire company's reputation, your entire reputation, of which your logo and your slogan are a part and enhance to the world. But really at the core, your brand is so much more than that. And another misconception that people have is that branding is just about beating out the competition. But really your goal as a brand is not just to beat out the competition. What your goal is as a brand, if you really want to be remembered, it's about making your brand so essential and so perceived as essential to people's lives that you become the only solution to what they're doing in their daily lives. And I'll give you an example on a personal level. You could think of it like your goal when you're branding your company, when you're having more people remember your name, is to become their one. You know, when you're dating, a lot of times people say, you know, she's my one, he's my one, my husband Scott is my one. You know, there is a lot of people that I could have been compatible with. I've taken compatibility tests. But the reality is, he is the only one that would ever be brave enough to propose to me at Denny's. And he's just special. I mean, he's a very special guy, and there's no doubt in my head that he is the one. There is not competition. He is the one. So how do you do that with your products and services? How do you make sure that you are the one? That is your goal. It's not even about beating out other people. It's about bringing so much value to the party that the people that most resonate with you see you as the one. Okay? But how do you do that? How do you get to the point that you're the one, that they remember your name because you are such a part of who they are and their lives? So really, there are many secrets to being remembered, but I'm going to talk about 4 of the ones I've seen make many businesses really successful. And what those are being clear, being compelling, keeping testing, and keeping in touch. So let me say that again. It's being clear, being compelling, keeping up with testing, and keeping in touch. So first, what do I mean by being clear? Well, what I mean by that is making sure that when people hear your name, they're clear on what your brand is and what it is not. And there's really 3 questions that I always tell people to think about when you're trying to make your brand very clear to other people so they remember it. So the first question is, what are you known for? And what you want to do is you want to think to yourself, what are you known for personally? So what do people think about you, how you talk, how you look, how you dress, their overall feeling about you? And then you want to ask yourself as a totally different question, what are you known for in terms of your business? Because some people are going to want to work with you just because you're you. They're going to say to themselves, oh, I could work with 1 million different insurance agents, but I want to work with Susie because Susie gets me. Susie is somebody I want to be around. Susie is somebody who understands what my family has gone through, and she can really help us. I trust her to get me to that next level. And plus, Susie's just fun. I love, whenever she walks into the room, she's somebody that I would be proud to stand by and talk to and introduce to other people. So you really want to think to yourself, what are you getting known as personally? Because sometimes it could go the opposite way, that people really like your products and services, but maybe you're just not the person that they would really want to work with, so they're going to go with somebody else. And so it's important when you're looking at why people remember you to realize that there's two totally separate things. There's your personal brand, and then there's also your business brand. Okay? So that's the first question. What are you known for? And what is your business known for? And if you don't know, and I highly recommend that you assume to yourself that you do not know, go and ask people. Ask them, say, hey, when you think of me personally, what are the first things that pop in your head? What do you tell other people about me when you talk? Hopefully all good things behind my back, right? But you want to know their first impressions of you and what they think about you. And then separately, what's the first thing you think when you hear about my company? And one thing just to note is at the end of this month, we have a market research lunch that's coming up on the 30th. So if you want to bring your questions about how people know you, definitely bring them to this lunch, because nobody knows your audience better than who? Your audience, right? A lot of times we think that we know what our audience wants even more than they do, but time and again, whenever I've done market research, my audience has always managed to surprise me or bring up things that I didn't know that they really wanted, because ultimately your goal is to create the perfect solution for your audience, give them the ultimate value in the way that they see it. And when they get that, when they get you care so much about them, when they get that you're asking them these questions so that you can genuinely improve their lives, this will also help them better remember you and your brand as somebody that cares. So the second question is, what aren't you known for? And this is just as important as what are you known for? Because there might be things that you aren't known for that is hurting your business. Like, nobody knew that she did that. I'll give you an example. I know somebody who has a printing business, and for years, all I thought that he did was posters and banners, and I had no idea that he actually did these photo quilts. And I found out because one day he came to our business referral network, and he brought with him this brochure, and it was called "I Didn't Know You Did That." And it was really powerful for me to see this brochure, because it was about the time that Grandpa was having a lot of health problems, and this would be the last gift that we would be able to give him. But I would never know that this would be the last gift unless there was this brochure that said, "I didn't know you did that." So what you have is amazing, your products and services, but they can't help people if they don't know that you do that. And they don't think of those services first. And sometimes people make assumptions about what your business is and what it's not. Oftentimes they do. And so once again, that goes back to market research and really making sure that people aren't just stereotyping what you're doing based on your name and ignoring other services you're providing. And then the third question about really getting clear is, what are you committed to being known for? So this might be things that you aren't currently known for, or this might be things that you are known for, but you want to get known for them in an even bigger way. So I really want you to think to yourself, if you could just get known for one thing, personally as a brand, and if you can only get known for one thing professionally as a brand or as a business, what would that be? What would you want the world to really say about you? And then you want to, after you write this down and you think about it, what are you really committed to getting known to? What do you want everyone to say about you? It's really putting it in a way that people remember it, because if you can't even remember how you want to get known, or it's not consistent, then it's really unlikely that other people will be able to remember and repeat it either. All right? So once again, in order to be clear, it's important to ask yourself, what are you known for? What aren't you known for? And what is that one thing that you really want to get known for above all else, both personally and as a business brand? Now, the second secret to being remembered is to be compelling. It's to be irresistible. And that means not having any resistance, or having your audience not feel like they're resisting your brand if they're people who are perfect for what you're selling. So in order to really be compelling, what's really important is, one, to be able to say something different. You go to, let's say, a networking event, and have you ever noticed that most people's commercials are really bland? What do you do for a living? I am in real estate. Woo! And maybe it goes as far as I'm in residential or I'm in commercial. But that doesn't really separate you from any other person who's in real estate. What makes you special? What makes you different? What makes people who are listening to you want to listen longer? What do you do that other real estate agents don't do? What do you do better? What do you do quicker? What do you do smarter? What do you do more impressively on the customer service front? These are things that you want to put consistently into your pitches or into your commercials or into your introductions. Because otherwise, you're just like everybody else that's doing the same thing, and then people are going to make assumptions that you're just like every other real estate person. So really be clear about what makes you stand out from the crowd. The next thing is to be quick. Get to the point about what it is that really has you stand out. But don't say more than you have to, because otherwise it turns into a lecture and people resist lectures. The point of having a brand and having messaging is not to put it all in a book. It's not to be a monologue. It's to be a conversation. So what you want to do is you want to have a message that makes you different, but above all else makes people want to ask you questions about it. So you want to have what I call a hook. You want to be able to say something that makes people go, oh, that's interesting. Tell me more. And in order to do that, in order for them to say, tell me more, it has to be something that's really quick. So, for example, when I tell people I'm the founder of Promote Her Business, we promote your business online, offline, all the time. It's quick, it's to the point, it's memorable, and oftentimes people will ask me whatever is most important to them in what I just said. So if they need more support online, they'll ask me questions about Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. If they're more interested in offline, they're going to ask me about networking groups. If they're more interested in all the time, they might ask me about what I do all the time to make sure messages get out there. But it's short and simple and to the point. And your goal to know if it's really compelling is if people are asking you questions. If they're not asking you questions, there's something that's not working with your messaging, because it's really about them and your ability to have a conversation with them so you can really show them how you can customize whatever you're doing to their world. Okay? And another way to be compelling is to be consistent. It's just like, you could think of it like the alphabet, okay? So when you were learning the alphabet and you were going A, B, C, D, E, F, G, what if You know, one time you went A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then the next time you went A, B, C, D, F, K, W, Z, A, B. You would never remember it, right? So it's the same thing with your messaging. A lot of times people say to me, Joes, I don't like to sound scripted, so I don't write anything down. Well, if you don't write it down, you can't improve it and you can't be consistent. And consistency is what has people remember you and what you're doing. So it's very important that you are totally consistent on what you're saying, that you do write it down. You don't have to say it as if it's scripted, but there needs to be a part of what you're doing that is consistent so that people are able to remember and repeat what you're doing, and so that you can actually test if it's working. And we'll get to that in a little bit, but it's all about consistency. You could think of one of my favorite jingles was Kool-Aid, tastes great, wish I had some, can't wait. And we used to sing that when we were a kid. Kool-Aid, tastes great. And it's the same thing. It's that it was repeated. It was consistent. I heard it over and over and over on commercials, but it never changed. And that was why I was able to then take that and sing it, not just for myself, but I'd sing it with friends. I'd sing it on, one time I was on a Girl Scout trip and I got a whole busload of girls singing Kool-Aid, tastes great, wish I had some, can't wait, because I knew it so well, because it was consistent. So I want you to think about consistently, what do you want to be saying? What do you want more people to be repeating? This is the thing you want consistent. It doesn't have to be everything you say, but a part of what you say needs to be consistent, because that piece will be what other people take and repeat. And then the other part of being compelling is also having an emotional appeal. So really think to yourself, how can you have a story that would make people be interested and remember what you're talking about? You know, I gave you the example of the printer and how his business made a personal difference for me and Grandpa. I mean, think to yourself about, in your own business, what are stories? Because stories don't just tell. Stories really sell, but they sell in a way that doesn't feel salesy, and it really heightens people's emotions. And when people's emotions are heightened, they're more likely to remember you. Okay? So really think to yourself, what are some stories that can elicit that? Now, the third way people will remember you is when you are able to keep testing what you're doing. So the reason I'm talking about testing is because the best way to optimize your ability to have people remember you is to know that you are making progress on having more people remember you. And so this is all about test, and test. And one word, just using one word, can make a total difference in terms of how likely people are to click, how likely people are to ask you questions, how likely people are to want to work with you. And so this really goes to being able to have something that you can test that is written down. I'll give you an example. So, for example, using the words add to cart convert better than buy now. For some people, they may or may not convert better for you. You have to test it, right? Or for some people, saying let's get started converts better than test drive. So, but the only reason they know that let's get started converts better than test drive is because they've tested it, right? They've tested it. It resonates more with people. And when it resonates more, it also helps people remember you better, and it leads to higher conversions. And then the last way that's so important that people will better remember your name is in terms of keeping in touch. So it's up to you to not only be able to first tell them about yourself, but it's also equally important to have some kind of system in which people are regularly getting information from you, getting value from you. You're staying in front of them past your initial conversation with them. So it's really important to think about how often are you keeping in touch with Power Partners? How often are you keeping in touch with your leads? How often are you keeping in touch with your clients, people you already know? Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's also true of the current clients you have. You may think to yourself, oh, I gave them a really great product and service. They should love me forever. But the reality is that only lasts so long, and then they start feeling like you're nothing more than a credit card to them if you don't continually stay in contact with them. So keeping in front of them, think about for yourself today all those different people that affect your business, your Power Partners, your leads, your affiliates, your current clients, and really think about what are those systems so you're staying in front of them so they're not only remembering that you do this, but they're remembering that you care about them past whatever you're selling. Are you sending them birthday cards? Are you sending them informational articles? Are you sending them congratulation letters if they did something really great in their business and they're a Power Partner? Get known, have them remember you as somebody that cares about them even past the sale. So there's so many golden nuggets that we really talked about today. And if you, and what I would recommend is if you want to be immensely successful and having more people remember your name, there's 2 actions you absolutely need to take. One is to fill out your brand compass. If you haven't done that already, go ahead and fill out your brand compass. The second is to ask people why they remember your name. What is it about you that they remember? What is it about you that they don't remember that you're like, oh crap, I wish they remembered that about me, because clearly they can't promote me to other people if they don't even remember that I do that. And also be paying attention to how they say it back to you. Are they saying it to people in the way you want it to be said? Or are they unintentionally maybe misrepresenting what you're doing, but they're at least saying your product and service? And so that's something else to really look at, is trying to figure out not only do they remember what you do, but do they remember it in a way that they can repeat it. So I highly recommend to everybody to do some market research. If you want to come to our lunch for our Silicon Valley chapter, that's going to be at the end of this month. So definitely check it out on Meetup, and you can bring a couple questions to the group and see what people really have to say about you, about your brand, and if they remember whatever you're trying to have them remember. So this was a really great opportunity today to be able to tell you a little bit more about what can help you get known. Always remember to be clear, to be compelling, to keep testing what you're doing, not to be afraid to write it down, and to keep in contact with everybody and have a system in order to do that. And directly after this interview today, feel free to fill out a survey. It only takes 2 minutes and you can win big. When you fill out any survey after an interview, you have an opportunity to win a Biggest Difference consult, which is equal to $600 in value. So definitely take those 2 minutes to win big, and then we could talk about what will make the biggest difference in your business and your brand and your marketing this year. And we will have a really exciting interview next month. So definitely stay tuned, because you will continue to learn the best practices in marketing and sales today. And until then, remember to promote your business and each other online, offline, all the time. Give me a P, P, give me an H, H, give me a B, B, what do you say? Hey, give me a P, P, give me an H, give me a B, what do you say? Hey.